Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is my review for the series premiere of Golan The Insatiable. Now, technically, this is not the series premiere. Basically, what happened with this show is that this was a 11-minute short on ADHD. It ran for 6 episodes last year, and they basically decided that they were going to put it to a full series. So they completely revamped the show. The original story didn't really have much to it, but of course, it's a 30-minute show, so they added a story to it. They added a whole new, story, and basically that's, what happened to this show. So I'm definitely very interested in seeing how this show would work, if it really would work as a 30-minute show, and overall, how is Golan The Insatiable? Now, just so you guys know, after this show, I did watch the original Golan The Insatiable. I'm actually a pretty big fan of ADHD. I think they definitely do some very funny stuff. What they can get away with, I'm definitely shocked at, because it is Fox, but because it's aired at such a later time, they can get away with a lot more, and I think that's hilarious what they can get away with, and it's one of my favorite things of the show by far. But overall, Golan The Insatiable, it's not a perfect show. It has a lot of problems, a lot of things that it can fix. It definitely has potential to be very good. For right now, though, I think it's just an okay show. It definitely does have potential, though, I think. I think it has a lot of potential. We'll see, though. So let's get to the basic plot of Golan The Insatiable. Basically, we follow this girl, Dylan, who she is constantly getting picked on by these bullies, and basically no one really understands her. Her mom's trying to get her to be friends with a school bully, but she doesn't really want to be friends with her, because she's just different from her. She doesn't get her, and she's like, nobody gets her and everything. So one day she finds this book, basically, and she ends up summoning this mighty demigod warlord named Golan, and he finds himself right in her town, and, she finds this, basically, he managed to return to his world, basically. He basically, tells her that, look, I'm only going to be here for a while. I'm going right back to my world. He plans to help her plan a revenge act against, Mackenzie B, the school bully. But then he tells her that he's going to go back to his, town. But then he realizes that in his absence, it's now been taken over by someone else. So basically, he wants to return to his world and also reclaim his throne, and they help out each other, and eventually realize that they really, have this great bond. That's basically plot Golan The Insatiable. Now, there are other things going on in the show that I don't really like, but we will talk about it. First of all, they made several huge changes to this show, and I'm going to talk about the changes that they made. Some of them I like, some of them I don't understand. Okay, some of them I'm like, why did you do that? That doesn't work. First of all, let's talk about the new cast. The cast is definitely very different. It takes a while to get used to them. If you look at the original cast, very different than this cast. Rob Riggle especially. The voice to Josh Miller's voice, the original Golan The Insatiable, was a lot more gruff, a lot more deep, and just a lot more powerful. Here, Rob Riggle, he's giving it his all, definitely. He's giving 110% to this character by far. You can definitely tell how, that he is very committed to this character. But you just don't really feel I think he's menacing, but he's definitely more of your typical Fox animated character. I think he does a very good job in his role. I definitely think he's definitely a very interesting character. And, but definitely, I'd say Josh Miller, I think, definitely did a better job. It definitely is going to take me a while to get into that voice after seeing Josh Miller's voice, definitely. But I think Rob Riggle does a really good job with this show. He definitely was the right person to pick. He was very funny, and I definitely really do like his character. Aubrey Plaza plays Dylan, who's not that different than Mary Mack, the original Dylan, but I think she does a really good job as well. They added a backstory to her character. That's something they did differently than the original, is that the original story didn't really have a backstory, so they added this backstory. I like it, but I just kind of find it unnecessary. I really do. I'm like, really, it's good, but my problem is her story was extremely, extremely rushed. Like, it takes her 4 minutes to actually find the book and find Golan. It takes her a very short amount of time, and it was just very rushed, in my opinion, definitely. And I didn't really like how rushed it was. I thought it was way too rushed. But I think Aubrey Plaza does a good job overall with her character, and she definitely, does a good job there. Maria Bamford as Carol, I think, is also really good. She's very funny. She's the one that's trying to help out Dylan, and at the same time, Golan has a crush on her, and she's trying to flirt with him. Now, something they did change in the original show. In the original show, Dylan had two parents who her mother always flirted with Golan while her father tried to stop that from happening. Here, her father's dead. So it really does get rid of a lot of what made the original so good. A lot of it, the original hilarious parts, was the dad just trying to stop Golan from seducing his wife. It was actually very funny. And here, when you cut him from the show, I don't really see why we had to cut him from the show. I mean, he was a good character. He was. He wasn't a bad character. He was a good character, and they cut him from the show, and I'm not really sure why they cut him from the show. And they tell you every 5 seconds, she doesn't have a dad, she doesn't have a dad. Like, they keep doing that, and they tried to make Golan like the father figure, and it just really doesn't work. I mean, when you have this crude, loudmouth demigod just talking about having sex with your, with your mother, and talking about having sex with your sister, I mean, he's not really a very good role model, just saying. He's really not. So I didn't really feel like there was a reason to cut Richard from the show. It didn't make sense to me, and I wish they wouldn't have cut him from the show. He was a very good character, and I don't see why we couldn't have just had him on the show. It doesn't really make sense. Rachel Bertura as Alexis Beekler, yes, she's annoying. She is Dylan's sister. She's very annoying, but that's the point of her character. She's supposed to be a typical annoying teenager, which I think is really funny. My biggest complaint is the change of Mackenzie B's character. Mackenzie B, is played by Tara Strong. She was used to be played by Abby Gregoria. Difference with Mackenzie B is probably the most drastic change in the show besides them getting rid of Richard. Mackenzie B in the original show was just supposed to be a normal girl. That's all she was supposed to be, a normal girl that Dylan just didn't understand, so she automatically saw her as, oh, she's a bitch. That's what she saw her as. That's literally, like, watch the original show. She's not a bad person. Making her an actual bitch kind of just deflates all of the humor of what made her character so good. I mean, you really did feel bad for her character, but at the same time, it's hilarious to watch, because it's like, oh, you don't get me? Well, then you're a bitch. It was definitely very funny to see, and here it's just like, well, she's a bitch, so obviously you want her to see her, them take her down. It just didn't really work for me. I would have wanted more to her character besides, oh, she's just a bitch. Like, I thought that was kind of just like, well, really? Like, who am I supposed to root for here? Why should I care that they're taking her down if she's just this bitch? Why should I care about that? So yeah, I really didn't care about her character, and when her character did get defeated very early on, I was happy, because I just don't like what they did to her character. I really don't. I mean, I didn't realize that about her character until I watched the original show, and I'm like, that's so much better. Why can't they just do that? Like, I don't understand that. So they didn't ruin it, but there are definitely things they need to fix. And let's get to first the writing in the show. The weakest part of the show by far is the writing. The best thing about the show is the chemistry between Golan and Dylan. I think they work very well together. And you definitely see how these two, the reason they work so well together is because they both understand each other. And they're really the only people that do understand each other, which I do like seeing. They're kind of like two outcasts in this world. I definitely like that. The writing is all over the place, though, in the show. It's very scattered. It's very convoluted. And I did feel like it, was very much like, let's put this in, let's put this in. Like, they put so much plot into this show, and it was just, like, way too much for me. Especially when we got to them just towards the end, where there's that whole angry mob. I found that completely unnecessary for the first episode. I mean, they made one attack on a girl's family. Like, you're really gonna call a mob over that? Like, seriously? How did everybody, like, not hate her? Like, seriously, I don't understand why they called a mob over. It was stupid. I mean, I understand she wants to be, like, his assistant and everything. I get that, but I just thought it was dumb. I really did. I just thought, really, that's what we do? And it just didn't work for me. I thought the writing was all over the place, and I definitely didn't like it. I also hated the ending as well. The way it ended, I'm like, really, that's the ending? It just seemed very rushed to me. Very rushed, and way too much happened, definitely. Very rushed, and I didn't like that about this episode at all. They definitely could have spent more time on Dylan being antisocial before she meets Golan. They could have spent more time on that, and they didn't really. I mean, I know it's a 30-minute show, but they could have spent more time on that, and they really didn't. The animation looks really good to the show, definitely. I think Golan looks really good. I think the design on Dylan looks really good. And definitely one of the strongest parts of the show by far is the animation. I definitely really do like that. Something else, though, with the show, I kind of feel like it doesn't really know what it wants to be yet. It's very crude at times, but also has a lot of heart to it. It tries to have heart, and it doesn't really work, I don't think. And then there are times where it just tries to shoehorn in things that I just don't think worked very well at all, and I just didn't really like. I just feel like now that they've started off that, now that they've gotten rid of some things, now that they've redone the show, they definitely need to have a lot of fixing to do. They have a lot to clean up, they have a lot to fix, and I don't really know if it was really necessary, just fresh new start. I don't really think that was really necessary. I mean, I get that we want people to know her story, and I get that we want to have a good story for Golan, but why do we have to cut Richard from the show? I thought it was kind of dumb that they did that, so maybe we'll see him in flashback or something, I'm not really sure. I just hope they really do fix this. They have 5 episodes to do it. We'll see how it works overall. Overall, I do think the show has a lot of potential. I don't hate this show by any means. I think this is a fun... this could end up being a very fun show. But for right now, I definitely do have a lot of problems with it. If I had to rate this episode, I definitely would give it a B-. It's not perfect. I had a lot of problems with it. That's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys saw this first episode. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Penny Dreadful. And I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.